Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Bluejay Family Live panel this evening. Tonight, we are going to discuss life after Creighton, or for our seniors, like leading up to graduation, and then what happens after you graduate from Creighton. My name is Allison Moore, and I'm Assistant Director in the Office of Student and Family Support at Creighton, and I'm excited to be your host this evening. Tonight's panel will be 1 hour long, and the session will be recorded. After the session is over, tomorrow or later this week, it'll be posted to our Bluejay Family portal, and then you can also find it on our webpage. Tonight, I'll be introducing our panelists. They'll each be sharing some information from their areas, and then we will take live questions from the audience. So in order to ask your question, you're going to do that using our Q&A feature found down below. So to test out that Q&A feature, if you will click on that right now, and if you will drop into the Q&A where you are joining us from this evening. I see San Jose, California, someone from Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., another Wisconsin. Great. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Oh, Hawaii, wonderful. We're so glad to have you here with us this evening. So I want to share with you a little bit about how you as families can connect with our Office of Student and Family Support. First and foremost, I had mentioned our Bluejay Family Portal. That's a wonderful way to get timely, up-to-date information of things that are going on across campus, and you can sign up to be part of different communities so you can kind of pick and choose the information that you're wanting. You can also stay up to date through our monthly Bluejay Family newsletters by participating in Bluejay Family Live panels like this one tonight. And then, of course, you can stay connected with us on our social media platforms. So we're on Instagram, we're on X, as well as Facebook. And you can reach out with questions, comments. If you have any questions after the live panel this evening, you can reach us at family@creighton.edu. You can also reach out by phone and call us at 402-280-1212. An easy way to remember that phone number, and if you're families of seniors, you've probably heard this before. But if you don't know what to do, call 1212. That's a great way to remember how to reach us. Tonight, we'd like to thank our Golden Gojay Bluejay family sponsors, Cobalt Credit Union, Avior Financial Management, and then Creighton Dining. We also want to remind you all that we are here to help our students level up, to take that next step, whatever that means for them. And we're here to help every Bluejay level up. So if you do have questions, any students that are on, if you have questions that are coming up here in this last month and a half, please feel free to reach out to us at levelup@creighton.edu. So the purpose of tonight's Bluejay Family Live panel is to really discuss these next couple months leading up to graduation and then post-graduation, so life after Creighton. So we're here to provide some career and graduate school advising and resources, talk a little bit about health insurance, that student loan repayment piece, and then of course connecting as an alumni. So the types of resources and support that are available for our alumni at Creighton. I'd like to introduce tonight's panelists. We have Jeremy Fisher, Senior Director of the John P. Fahey Career Center. We have Melissa Lindauer, Assistant Director of Student Health Education and Compliance. We have Quinn Hellick, Student Financial Services Counselor from the Student Financial Services Office. And then we have Anna Gardner, Assistant Director of Alumni and Affinity Programs in Alumni Relations. And we're happy to have all of them here with us tonight. They're going to share some wonderful information with you all. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kick it off by introducing Jeremy Fisher, Senior Director of the John P. Fahey Career Center. Welcome, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So our Career Center, the nice thing about investing in a school like Creighton is, again, we invest back in you. Our Career Center services are free for life for our students and alumni. So, for example, I just met with two alums today. We had one graduate who graduated 3 years ago, whose fiance just got matched in a medical residency and now moving from Omaha to Milwaukee. And he's got to pivot now to look for a new job in Wisconsin. And we're happy to help him with those connections, updating his resume, help him connect to employers, recruiters, alumni in the area. Also recently met with an alum who just graduated 5 years ago and is moving from Omaha to Denver. So just keep that in mind. Seniors, families, you can always come back to use the Career Center. Our career advisors are set up and assigned for each college and school program. So we have College of Arts and Sciences career advisors, College of Nursing career advisors, and Heider College of Business career advisors. We also serve our graduate and professional school students. So even if you're looking at taking a gap year, wanting to come back, maybe reapply or apply to graduate professional school, or maybe look at a position for employment after a gap year or post-grad service year, just keep us in mind that we're happy to help you with that process. Again, with updating or reviewing resumes, cover letters, personal statements. I also met with a senior today who's in the final rounds interviews with the Federal Reserve Bank in Kansas City, and we did a mock interview today. So, helping our career advisors and helping our students help with that process of making sure you'll be successful, no matter what your search plans are for your career goals. If that's continuing your education or looking for employment, that job search assistance is available. Part of my job as the director of the Career Center as well is I work with a lot of employers and travel around a lot of cities around the country to meet with companies in various industries, but I also attend a lot of our alumni networking events. So if the university alumni office works very close with us and vice versa in the Career Center can help get you connected to alumni in certain cities, certain industries. So don't hesitate to reach out to the Career Center. We're happy to help with those connections. And then, like I said, working with our partners in student success, the Center for Advising Resources and Support. If you are, again, taking a gap year, looking to apply to a professional school or graduate program, we work very closely with that office as well. And you'll have access to those services both through the Career Center and our CARS office. One thing to keep in mind too, especially for current seniors, or maybe even again 3 to 5 years down the road, you get a new job or you switch, positions or change industries. One of the nice benefits of especially that financial aspect is, having someone to go to talk through reviewing a job offer, how to negotiate salaries, reviewing benefits packages, et cetera. I think those are really valuable services, and I'd highly recommend, our seniors and alums to at least have a career advisor or a coach or someone close to them go through that information to make sure that you're getting the best opportunity available. So the next slide just kind of highlights a little bit of our success, here. This is actually ironically the same. We just finalized our class of 2025 data, and this is showing class of 2024. But we landed at the same success rate for our post-graduation first destination career outcomes. So in class of 2025, it was also 98% outcome rate in terms of our students are successfully either employed or continuing their education in graduate professional school, or they've committed to a gap year or 1 or 2 year postgraduate volunteer program within 6 months of graduating. So we will work with you in the Career Center until you land that outcome, whether it's before graduation, after graduation, and we really will actually proactively reach out to those still searching once you fill out your first destination survey at graduation time. So we'll have a good idea of students that are still looking for opportunities versus those that have already landed an outcome. But I promise we'll make sure to follow up with those that still need assistance. And we'll work with you even after graduation until you're successful with your career search. 2024 graduates, if you're a first generation student or alum, we had a 100% success rate in 2024 and a 99% success rate in our class of 2025 for our first generation students. So we're very, very proud of that as well. If you look at the right, this tends to be pretty consistent from year to year, where we have over half of our arts and sciences students do continue their education. Many go into the workforce, but if you look at the concentration of nursing and business students, for example, we just have a higher percentage of those students going into employment right away versus, say, graduate or professional schools. So I'll close with the last slide here, just again to kind of go over a lot of the data that we do collect is around starting salaries for our graduates, and this this could be divvied up in several different ways. We look at by major, by location, by industry or occupation, size of company. There's a lot of different factors that factor into a starting salary. But combined with our arts and sciences, business and nursing grads this past year, the median starting salary was around 64,000. Obviously, that's going to change depending on location. It's going to vary if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or here centrally in the Midwest. And you can kind of see a sampling of our top notable employers from the past couple of years. But again, that key piece with that experiential learning piece, most of our students have some sort of leadership, service, internships, or research experience to make them competitive applicants for opportunities. So again, free services for life through the Career Center. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can call the Career Center, or for students or alums, you can request an appointment either in person, or we do virtual appointments as well. You can log into your Handshake account and request an appointment with a career advisor from there. So happy to stay on and answer questions later on, but thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Jeremy. What an amazing service to have those, free opportunity for down the road to have you help review job offers, the benefits package. Everybody needs help understanding that, right? So, as well as preparing for interviews through interview prep and mock interviews. So, thanks for sharing the wonderful services that the Career Center offers. That's really great. Next, I'd like to introduce Melissa Lindauer, our Assistant Director of Student Health Education and Compliance. Hi, Melissa. Welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, so tonight I just wanted to chat, a little bit about health insurance and a few other health consideration pieces upon graduation. Our office in student health education and compliance, we help students connect to health resources that they need, and we also oversee the student health insurance requirement. So I feel up until this point, we've had pretty good tabs on students in terms of, making sure students had comprehensive health insurance in order to meet that Creighton requirement so that you're, protected in case you had illness or accident, that type of thing. But it's going to be really important upon graduation to know what coverage you have, know your coverage and check your eligibility. For students who are lucky enough to be covered under a, parents insurance plan, their coverage will likely continue until age 26, because of the Affordable Care Act. It says that insurers must provide that dependent coverage until age 26. So, if you're not insured under a parent's plan, or maybe you are a student who is utilizing the Creighton sponsored student health insurance plan from United Healthcare, it's important to know that your coverage will end. It extends slightly beyond graduation, but it will end this summer. So end of July, July 31st is the last day that you'll be insured under that United Healthcare insurance plan. So unfortunately, there is not an option to extend that. There's no COBRA like there is with some, employer type plans. So keep that in mind. Be thinking of what is the plan after July. So hopefully we can kind of move to the next slide. Hopefully you'll perhaps be employed and have a job that offers health insurance benefits. So then at that time, if you're a student who didn't have another insurance, great. That's kind of an easy transition. You start a new job, take those benefits, you're good to go. Maybe you were covered under a parent's plan, and at that time, and you're starting a new job and health insurance is offered to you, it's going to be an important time to sit down to kind of weigh out what's the better option for you. If your parents are happy to keep you on their plan, to kind of weigh the pros and the cons in terms of cost, premium cost and the benefits of that new health insurance. But again, if you find yourself without insurance come, August 1st and you don't have a job, think of other things. Do you have a spouse? Is there spousal coverage that you can hop on? Otherwise, you might need to look at some independent coverage that can be found online, through insurance agents or through healthcare.gov. Do keep in mind that if a student, when they turn the age 26, if they are, aging off a parent's plan and don't have another option at that time, there is, usually COBRA, which is, again, that temporary extended coverage type of insurance available. It often comes kind of with a hefty premium. So it's always kind of good to plan ahead and think about what your options are. But we are always happy to help with any type of insurance related question in our office. The email address is listed there, studentinsurance@creighton.edu. Or you can call the phone number listed on the screen there and select option 4 and get right to my colleague Stephanie, who would be happy to guide through. So That's something that's really important to think about is yes, that health insurance, it's really important just not to go a day without health insurance. You just never know. So, a couple of other considerations that I wanted to chat about. We can move to the next screen. Just in terms of, medical care, if you're maybe you're lucky enough to be a student who doesn't have any chronic health conditions and maybe only sought care, at college for illness or, maybe a preventative checkup, that's great. But if you do have some ongoing health concerns or, health conditions, definitely be thinking ahead about who you're going to see if you're moving, to a new location. If you're moving to a new city, a new state, you're going to need some new health providers. I know sometimes telehealth is available, but that's not always an option across state lines. So keep that in mind and just ask questions now and kind of plan ahead and be thinking both for physical health providers and also if you have mental health providers in terms of therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, really plan ahead. A lot of times, making appointments with new providers, especially specialty providers, there can be some really long waiting times, in particular specialties like neurology, rheumatology. Some of those come with long wait times. So just really plan ahead. Oh, and also, yes, this is a good one. So prescriptions, oftentimes, students, think that they can continue to refill prescriptions indefinitely, but know that providers usually will only, after those refills run out, authorize another refill or two without having an appointment. So do plan ahead so that you're not finding yourself in a bind without your medication or without the medical help or therapies that you need. So. I think I had one other tidbit just to add in terms of immunization records. So our office has oversaw immunization records. That's kind of transitioning away. So if you're familiar with the Birdhouse where you uploaded your immunization records in the past, know that everything that you've uploaded to Creighton, or if you've acquired new immunizations or lab work, in terms of maybe hepatitis B titer or TB testing along the way, you might need that if you're going on to another educational program or and a future employer might want that information. Know that you currently can still access that through the Birdhouse. That soon will be going away, so you can always just email immunizations@creighton.edu, at post-graduation when you'll no longer have access to that, and we'd be happy to provide you with that report. So, if you have any questions, student health related, please always feel free to reach out to us, studenthealth@creighton.edu, or call the phone number listed here on your screen. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Appreciate you sharing that really important information because we know how important it is to have health insurance coverage because you just never know what might happen. So thank you so much for sharing that information. Next, I'd like to introduce Quinn Hellick. Quinn is a student financial services counselor in our student financial services department. Hi, Quinn, welcome.
Hey, Allison. All right. So we are going to talk a little bit about financial aid, and more specifically, how that looks for all of you as seniors transitioning from being students to repayment. So there's a few things I want to talk about. The first thing I want to mention is just a reminder, please remember to complete the federal exit loan counseling. This is required for any student who has borrowed federal student loans, so any loans through FAFSA. Make sure you do it. It's required. And you can access that through studentaid.gov at that link listed on the screen. This must be completed before your grace period ends. And it's a requirement, but also it does genuinely help in determining which repayment plan is best for you. So please make sure you do that. Also, if you've borrowed Creighton institutional loans, specifically the Creighton institutional undergraduate loan, you do have to complete a separate loan exit counseling for Creighton. So that requirement will be posted to your Nest after April 9th, so just a couple of weeks from now. But make sure you do it. Your diploma can't be released until that's complete. So make sure you do. A couple notes about those institutional loans. They have a 9-month grace period, so you don't have to make any payments until 9 months after graduation. And then if you continue another degree here at Creighton, those loans would stay in deferment during your graduate program. So you wouldn't have to make any payments at that time during your program, but that only applies if you're doing a Creighton program. So if you do a graduate program at, KU or Stanford or wherever else, you would have to start making repayments on those Creighton institutional loans during that graduate program. So just be aware of that. And we can move to the next slide. All right, so a little more information about federal student loans. Again, those are the ones through FAFSA. Those have a 6-month grace period, so a little different than the Creighton institutional loans, but same basic idea that you have 6 months from the time of graduation before repayment starts, or before mandatory repayment starts, I should say. So you've got a little bit of time to, find a job, get on your feet before those inevitable loan repayments. So during that 6-month time period, that's when you'll do exit loan counseling, like I mentioned before, and also just consider your options for repayment plans and what that'll look like for you. If you don't know who your loan servicer is, you can find out on your FAFSA, or on studentaid.gov, I should say, but you'll log into your account and it'll tell you who your loan servicer is. For a little context there, you take out federal student loans from the government, from the federal government, but then you repay them through one of about a half a dozen federal loan servicers. So a couple examples would be Mohila or Ed Financial or Nelnet. You have one of those. You don't get to pick which one is yours. That's who you'll actually go through to set up your repayment plans and then manage those repayments. For Creighton institutional loans, they have a separate loan servicer, and that's always through Heartland ECSI. You can access that website on the link on the screen here. So just remember, if you have institutional loans and federal loans, you will actually have 2 separate monthly loan payments because of that. So one payment to Heartland ECSI, one to your federal loan servicer. And then with private student loans, so anything from any sort of private entity. So some common ones would be like Sallie Mae or SoFi, entities like that. Those would be through their own servicers. So you'll have to contact whichever lender you went through to, manage and sign up for those repayment plans. And we can go to the next slide. And actually, sorry, can you go back? I think you skipped. Sure. Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. I thought I missed something. All right, so one thing to note, and you might be aware of this following news and politics and everything, but federal student loan repayment plans are changing fairly significantly due to the One Big Beautiful Bill that was passed last year. So, namely, there are several different repayment plans that you'll still have access to if you don't borrow additional federal loans after July 1st of this year. But there will also be new payment plans that are eventually going to replace the current plans. So again, if you are not borrowing any additional loans, you're going to graduate and then just stop going to school, stop borrowing loans, then you still have access to those current repayment plans. And I'm not going to go into great detail on those plans just for the sake of time, but I've listed them out here. It's the standard plan, graduated, extended, and then there's 3 different income-driven plans. You can see more information about those on this link listed on the screen. And you can use the loan simulator on studentaid.gov to directly compare those different plans with your actual loan information. The loan simulator is great. You can log in to studentaid.gov and it pulls in your actual loan information that you've borrowed for the whole time you've been in school. So it's a great, very convenient way to just compare different repayment plans. Next slide, please. Now, a little information on the new repayment plans. And just to be clear, we don't have all the information yet. The Department of Education has not released final language on all of this. So that will be coming in the next few months. But this is what we know as of today. So the new repayment plans will start on July 1st, 2026. Again, if you don't borrow any additional federal student loans after July 1st of this year, then you can stay in the current plans if you want to, or you can go directly to those new plans. The existing plans will eventually be replaced by the new plans by July 1st of 2028 at the latest. The new plans there's going to be 2 essentially. One is the tiered standard plan. So it's based on your debt, not income. So it's just looking at how much you've actually borrowed. And then it splits up your monthly payments into equal amounts per month, but it assigns a different payment period depending on that level of debt. So either 10 years, 15, 20, or 25. It's going to be one of those discrete numbers. The repayment assistance plan is going to be the new income-driven plan. And so that'll replace the current three that exist. The exact details of exactly like how much debt puts you into which tiers, or exactly how the monthly payments are calculated for the income-driven plan, and then what impacts that is still, again, being determined by the Department of Ed. So we will have more information, hopefully, in the next couple of months, and that'll be posted on studentaid.gov. That's generally what you can expect. And again, keep in contact with your loan servicer. They're going to have the most up-to-date information about payment plans that you can access, and then what that'll look like in terms of your repayment. Next slide, please. And then to close out here, I wanted to talk a little bit about public service loan forgiveness. I'm not going to go into great detail again for time, but this is a good program to look at if you're considering working in a public service, which is broadly defined as nonprofit or government. It's a good way to get a lot of your debt forgiven. You can see the details on the screen here. Again, I'm not going to go into great detail now, but take a look at that. If you have any questions about it, let us know. And you can also ask at the end of this presentation. But I just wanted to throw that out there as a potential option, because it really can save a lot of students a lot in loan repayment over the course of the next 10, 20, 25 years. And lastly, again, if you have any questions at any point, so now as you're still students or even afterwards as alumni, please don't hesitate to reach out. This is our contact information, and we are more than happy to help at any time. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Quinn. Thank you for sharing. I know that you're trying to be very timely with the information as changes are happening to the loan repayment. And thanks again for the reminder about the exit loan counseling. I know students get really busy this time of year, especially when they're getting ready to graduate. So just making sure that they don't forget to do that loan exit counseling. So thanks for those reminders and that information. And our final panelist for the evening is Anna Gardner. Anna is the Assistant Director of Alumni Regional and Affinity Programming with Alumni Relations. Thank you so much, Anna. We're glad to have you here with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name's Anna. I work in the alumni office. We know, as Quinn had just talked about, that many of our recent grads are still going to be repaying their loans and doing that kind of thing. So we want everyone to stay connected other ways as well. If you are not able to give financially back to the university, that we hope maybe you can do one day, we really want to keep you connected as close as we can to get you to meet other alumni in the area that you move to, attend different regional events, and just kind of get to keep Creighton close to you as you may move across the country or stay in Omaha. So some of the ways that you can stay involved are through our events. We have different regional events. Jeremy mentioned our networking events that we do, that we partner with the Career Center. We have different social events. We have service events. We have athletic events around different sporting teams as they travel the country. Creighton Days is our big reunion weekend that we do every fall, where we invite alumni back to campus for different opportunities to get tours of the new buildings and spaces, as well as just reconnect with classmates. We have other big signature events across the country. One of my personal favorites is the DC boat cruise, where we have alumni in DC and the East Coast usually come and see the cherry blossoms coming up actually in a couple weeks. And we do a big boat cruise, and we get quite a few alumni there to get to celebrate that fun opportunity in that city. The biggest piece of information I have for all of you as you are graduating is to make sure that you update your email and your address. The only way that you guys will get invited to any of our future events or receive any emails from us is if we have your updated email, and more specifically the address. We pull our list to be able to invite you to these events via whatever address we have in our system. So if your address still says Omaha, but you move to Denver, you'll only be receiving events for Omaha. until you change your address over to Denver. So you can find our events on our social media and on our website, but the best way to get an email for our events is to make sure that you have your email updated. So you can either send an email to alumni@creighton.edu, or I know that this PowerPoint will get sent to you all as well. You can go to that link that's also on our website to fill out your updated address as well. So please do that. That's the biggest thing. This is just a little graph. It's a little bit outdated, but a graph of where all of our alumni go after graduation. So as you can see, we have alumni all over the country. Obviously, there's some more areas that are a little bit more populated with alumni, but we have alumni everywhere. So if you ever have moved somewhere and are looking to connect with someone, we're happy to help pull who lives in that area. And if they're willing to share their email or phone number with us that we could give to you, we're happy to help do that. Or if you're looking for a job, as Jeremy mentioned, through the Career Center, you can do that. You can also come through us and we can help try to make connections with different alumni across the country that way as well. We have alumni relations staff that are assigned to our top 20 market areas, as well as smaller market areas. So we each kind of have different territories that we work to plan events in throughout the year. Our top market areas you can see below. Those are where most of our alumni move to each year. However, we do events all across the country. If you are moving to one of these cities, though, you're guaranteed to have at least 2 alumni events throughout the year, as well as others as they pop up and our alumni want to do different events. Okay, here are some ways that we can stay connected with you. We have an Omaha Recent Alumni Board. So if you're graduating and you're remaining in Omaha, I work primarily with this board and we plan 3 or 4 events in Omaha each year. These events are geared toward recent alumni 0 to 10 years out of school. It's a great way to meet other alumni that are in Omaha who may have graduated before you. And it's a good way to connect and keep giving back to Creighton through your time and different ways if you're into planning events or things like that. We also have ambassador opportunities in different market areas. So those top 8 market areas that were on the last slide, we provide. If you're interested in staying connected in those areas, we are calling them ambassadors, and they are kind of go-to people in each city if we're looking for different places to host events that we go to, and kind of ask them. We don't live in those cities, obviously. We live in Omaha, so we're trying to figure out where alumni would be interested in going, different opportunities that they would be interested in having. And then when we host events, they're kind of like our go-to people if we need help at our events. So if you're moving to one of those cities or truly any city, we're happy to help figure out different ways that we could get you connected. We also partner, as Jeremy said, with the Career Center in these cities. We partner with enrollment management. If you're interested in helping get students to come to Creighton, we're happy to help connect you with them. And they have different ways for our alumni to connect. And we also have the Mentor Collective, where our alumni can connect with current Creighton students and help mentor them throughout their Creighton experience. This fall, we have our Bluejay meetups coming back. So we'll have events in Omaha, Chicago, Twin Cities, Denver, and New York for our very recent graduates. And finally, these are a few resources that you have. There are plenty more. If you go to our website, you can see all the different kinds of resources you'll have. But the biggest one, as Jeremy mentioned, is the Career Center, having access to the Career Center after you graduate to be able to update your resume, help you find jobs. If you're moving, you get that for the rest of your life. So it's a really great opportunity to have. The IJ has a discount for all Creighton alumni. So if you need a new computer or laptop or iPad after you graduate, you'll still get a 10% discount for Apple products. And then one that I didn't put on here is that you'll still keep your Creighton email after you graduate. You will no longer have access to the Office 365 stuff, but you'll keep your access to your Outlook email. So that's a pretty nice perk as well. But my last thing was just another reiteration of the only way that we can keep up with you after graduation is if you update your information. So please make sure you update your information after you graduate so that we can keep in contact with you and get to see you at some of our events. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. Appreciate you sharing all the wonderful ways that these soon-to-be alum and their families can stay engaged with Creighton, no matter if they're in Omaha or where they go. I know that I've been part of some of the meetings where they've been talking about Creighton Days that's going to happen in October. So I hope a lot of the alumni will, and new alumni will get to come back and participate in that weekend. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you. Before we move on to our Q&A, I just wanted to one more time share information on how students and families can connect with our office. Again, that 402-280-1212. If you don't know what to do, dial 1212. You can email family@creighton.edu. You can go to our website at creighton.edu/success. I also mentioned for students the level up at creighton.edu. And then please feel free to stop in our office in the Success Center, which is in the lower level of the Reinhardt Alumni Library. So the next portion will be our Q&A portion. And I want to remind you, please make sure that you're putting your questions using that Q&A function that you used at the beginning where you dropped in the cities that you're checking in from rather than using the chat function. So please don't use the chat. And the Q&A is now open. So please feel free to share your questions and we will make sure that they get answered by our panelists. So the first question that just popped in, I think this is an Anna question because you had just mentioned it. When will access to Microsoft 360 be disabled?
You know, that is a really good question that I probably should have the answer to. I would have to ask someone in IT actually to know that answer. I would guess you would at least keep it for a couple of months after graduation before it'll fully disappear. But I will connect with you and let Allison know that answer so she can send it out too.
We'll make sure that we can get that information out. We can
Yep.
also share that as an update in our Bluejay family portal as well. So again, the Q&A is open. Please feel free to drop questions pertaining to all of the things that we discussed this evening, and we will get them answered for you. I'll start with a first question that we got here. This is for Jeremy. Jeremy, can you talk about how someone can evaluate, a student or recent alum can evaluate whether a job offer is a good fit beyond just that salary piece?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of it, the number one reason people leave their jobs is their boss. Making sure that you're going to have a good supervisor with a company that you believe in, that fits with your personal, values. Making sure that you have growth opportunities at that company. Are they going to support your personal and professional growth to get you to where you want to be year 2, year 3, hopefully in that progression within that company. Hopefully a good team to work on, good supervisor, good growth opportunities is kind of what we're looking at. Sometimes when we are sitting down with a student or an alum who has multiple job offers on the table at the same time, oftentimes it's not always the highest paying job that is the best fit. So that's something that we always look at beyond total compensation, but it's all those other intangible things too that are really important.
Thank you. I think this one's going to be for you as well. What are some effective strategies for standing out in today's job market, especially if maybe someone has some limited experience?
Yeah, I think that it's still tried and true. I think connections really matter, and that's where the strength of our Creighton alumni network is really, really strong. I've worked for Creighton for 22 years, but I've had the pleasure of knowing several alumni for many years, and they're very high affinity to support our students and recent graduates with career advice, a resume review, maybe a referral into their company that they work at for an internship or a job opportunity. So we have, Nana can correct me if I'm wrong, I think over 77 or nearly 80,000 living alumni around the world. And not only in those top markets that she identified, but we literally have alumni in every state in almost every country. So tapping into that network is going to be huge when you're trying to get that first interview and first job opportunity to land.
Thank you. And I think this one's going to be from Melissa. Hopefully, what are some main health insurance options available after graduation, and how should someone decide which one is right for them?
That's a great question. Oops. I thought I was frozen for a minute. That's a very good question. I mean, so hopefully, I think the most economical option would be if you are if a student finds employment and there's an employer plan that's offered. That's seems to be always, I mean, I guess I'm not an expert, to be perfectly honest, in terms of all insurance plans. I work mostly with our student insurance plan. I mean, I know my own health insurance plan, of course, but I think when you're trying to find insurance independently, like through an insurance agent or online, I think those are probably always going to come with a bit of a higher cost than it would be through an employer sponsored plan. So the bottom line is, I suppose, look when you're looking for a job, that's an important piece, like as Jeremy was talking about too, like the whole benefit package. And if knowing just taking that into consideration when you're looking at which job's right for you. I hope that kind of helped answer the question.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this next one is, you and Jeremy have both talked about this, so I'll let you fight over it. What should graduates understand about employer benefit packages that maybe they might overlook at first? Are there anything you can think of?
I can chime in, and if you want to add anything, go for it. I think a lot of it, again, Alyssa had mentioned like health insurance. So I would say talk to your parents and family. The longer you can maintain that health insurance under your family plan, that could help save a little bit of money starting out, where maybe you use that money instead of paying a premium for your monthly insurance, maybe put that money into a Roth IRA or to a 403B or a 401k plan to start investing in your retirement as soon as you can. When comparing, job offers, even there's different benefits in terms of retirement compensation. Is it, pension versus other defined contribution plans with a certain percentage of a match, for company contributions on top of your personal contributions. So those are the types of things that you have to look at in terms of even retirement planning for your own professional career. But yeah, looking at other incentives. So sometimes employers will help pay for professional development like certifications, education. So a lot of companies have tuition, remission benefits to help me. Maybe you're thinking about an MBA or a graduate degree someday. Look at those types of benefits too. On top of that, whether you're going to use it now or maybe in the near future, I think all of those things add up in terms of dollars. So, I mentioned the intangible before about making sure you're going to be working for a reputable company on a good team with a good supervisor. But, that's why it's important to review all the benefits package with someone, because if you don't understand all the things that are being offered, you can't put a value to that.
And I have one more question for you, Jeremy. Where do we start to make appointments in person or virtual for job search assistance with the Career Center?
Yeah, one of two ways that are easy to do. You can just call the Career Center office at 402-280-2722, or you can go to our Handshake online career management system. That's our online career platform at creighton.joinhandshake.com. Students and recent alumni will be able to log in with their single sign-on. Once you're an alum and you no longer have access to your single sign-on through the university, you would just use your personal email, whether that's a Gmail or whatever. We would verify that you're an alum or a graduate of Creighton, and then we give you permission to get access again, to reestablish access to Handshake to your profile. once you're in Handshake, you can request an online appointment or an in-person appointment if you're in Omaha. Our hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, Central Time. So we just have to adjust with any time differences if you're living in a different time zone. But we can make exceptions if you need to do something over the lunch hour or maybe after hours. We have appointments available to meet the needs of our students and alums. So hope that helps.
Thank you. Quinn, can you talk a little bit about how can new grads balance loan payments with other financial priorities they may have, like rent, car payment, credit card payment?
Yeah, and it'll vary by the situation and by the student and how much student debt you have, how much and other obligations you have. I would say the general wisdom from financial aid is pay off your debt as soon as you can. There's no prepayment penalties on federal student loans, so you can always pay it off sooner, and they don't charge you fees for doing that or anything like that. That being said, if you have higher interest debt, so if you have credit card debt, something else like that, that may be a better priority to pay down first. Also, federal student loans do have fairly flexible repayment plans, and so especially if you've got a lot of student debt relative to your income, it may be worth doing one of those income-driven plans, either one of the current 3 or the new repayment assistance plan that'll be coming up next in July. So that, on one of those income-driven plans, you're paying a lot less per month in loan repayments, which is not ideal necessarily. You want to pay off your debt as soon as you can, but it does allow you breathing room, right? So it allows you to be able to pay for food and rent and all the basics and any other obligations you have without just drowning in federal student loan repayments. So I know that's kind of a roundabout answer. My general wisdom here is pay it off as soon as you can. Within reason, obviously, higher interest debt will be a bigger priority. And then, don't make yourself destitute trying to just get rid of the debt as soon as you can. Those income-driven plans are useful for that reason.
And then Quinn, this is one more for you. And I know you talked about this a little bit when you were talking about repayment, but can you discuss student loan deferment? Like what are reasons a student loan could be deferred, or how and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different scenarios here. The first is automatic in-school deferment. That's what all of you are in right now, since you're full-time students. Once you drop below half-time status or graduate and are at 0 status, then you'll have 6 months from that point in your grace period for federal student loans, 9 months in the Creighton institutional loans, and so you'll stay in deferred status effectively until the end of that grace period. So that's normal. That's automatic for all borrowers. You will enter repayment for federal student loans 6 months after graduation, after that grace period ends, unless you start in another program somewhere. So I mentioned before with the institutional loans, if you go to a different university, those institutional Creighton loans do not get deferred. So you just have to start making repayments there. But with federal student loans, they do actually stay deferred. So if you go to a graduate program anywhere else in the country and are enrolled at least half-time, your loans will be automatically deferred with that in-school deferment. So your undergrad loans and any loans you take out for that grad program. So that's all the in-school deferment. Now, there are ways to get a deferment or forbearance. They're very similar things, even after that repayment starts, so after your grace period ends. But generally, it's not in your interest to do that. So what that would do is pause repayments for a time, which sounds great, right? But the downside is that interest will be accruing during that deferment period. So if you get a deferment due to, and also they have to be, so it's usually like economic hardship or something like that. So if you get a deferment for 6 months, 2 years from now, let's say, that's great. You don't have to make any payments for 6 months. Interest will still be accruing that whole time, though. So generally, what we in the financial aid office and your federal loan servicer will recommend instead is to do an income-driven plan. At least right now, with the current plans, you can switch between like the standard plan and the income-driven plans and like go back and forth. So you could do an income-driven plan for a time and make small payments for that amount of time. So you're still at least attacking the interest a little bit, and but it's still keeping you afloat. It's still not breaking your bank with those monthly loan repayments. So that's generally what I'd recommend. But they are options. So if you cannot make any loan repayments for a time, especially due to something like economic hardship, or if you get sick and can't work for a time or something like that, contact your loan servicer and see what your options are. It'll either be income-driven repayment or forbearance or deferment.
Thank you. Anna, you talked about this a little bit. I know you talked about needing to submit your email to stay connected with alumni relations, but the question is, when is alumni weekend and what takes place, and then when will we get information?
Yes, this year, Creighton Days is October 2nd through the 4th. So it will take place on campus. You should be, if you are in a reunion year, which is if you're 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, etc. Those years you should be getting emails very soon. Obviously, a 0 year, we also do stuff for you all as well. When you graduate, if you want to come, and you should be getting emails to save the date for the weekend here soon. There'll be a lot of different events that you can sign up for. I know we're finalizing schedules for that now, but we're going to do different tours of campus. There's a soccer game that weekend that people are able to attend. We're going to do like a big, like, I think like kind of party on the mall kind of thing, to have alumni come back and be able to hang out with their classmates. So even if you're 0 years out, we welcome everyone back. There's always different things to do, and it's honestly a great way to come back and meet with your classmates and be back on campus for a little bit too. So it's October 2nd to the 4th.
And then you had mentioned the question was about getting the information. So is that once they share the
Yep. So
email
once
address
you share your email, so right now what we have in our system is all of your Creighton emails. So right now, any email that you all would get would go to your Creighton email. But as soon as you graduate and move and you stop checking your Creighton email, potentially it won't be going there anymore. So as you graduate, we'll be hosting events coming up here that you'll get emails about from program board and alumni relations for your senior celebration. And one of the things that it'll ask you to do in there is to update your email with us. And we'll do a little giveaway along with it too. But as you update your email with that, that way you'll also be able to get emails for future events as well. But that's just one of our ways that we're going to try to get you guys to update with us as well.
Thank you. And then looks like one last question, unless there are other questions that anyone would like to pop into the Q&A right now. But Jeremy, do you have any recommendations for, this sounds like maybe this is like job search stuff, but productive ways for recent grads to spend time if they haven't secured a full-time job?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously networking is key, but I think using that network following applications or to connect when you're applying to an organization is always really, really helpful. The number one way people get interviews is usually through an internal referral. Someone who works at that company that's referring your resume to the hiring manager, to the recruiter, or at least to get you that interview opportunity. It's all about getting that interview. So using resources, LinkedIn Job Search, Indeed, Handshake for entry-level positions. There's a variety of job boards out there, and there's a ton of them. Keyword search, location search, et cetera, depending on where you're looking for. I don't know if it's really not hard to find jobs. There's so many jobs. I was doing a job search with a student yesterday looking for finance jobs in Chicago that were entry level. There's over 1,000 job postings. Finding the jobs isn't hard. What's hard is getting the interviews. So that's where I said, once you know where you're applying, where you're interested in, look on our Creighton University LinkedIn group page. There's an alumni dashboard on there where you can, or search by company name in LinkedIn too, and just see, okay, who do we have that work there from Creighton? Connect with me personally. My network is recruiters and alumni. So if we don't have an alumni, certainly can help you get in touch with recruiters at companies too to follow up after you apply. So that's that big piece, and that's always been true in a successful job search. It's not just applying online hoping to hear back necessarily. It's really just, especially for good jobs, it's going to be a big applicant pool and very competitive. So trying to find somebody that you can reach out to is really important. And that's where the Career Center can help you with those types of connections, both from a recruiter standpoint and a Creighton alumni standpoint.
Thank you so much. That was the last question in the Q&A. So I'd like to take this time to thank our viewers here. I'd also like to thank all of our panelists, and of course our tech team that makes this all run behind the scenes. We really appreciate them. Again, just a reminder, there have been a lot of different phone numbers and emails and websites shared tonight. So if you weren't able to catch it right away, we will post this recording in our Bluejay Family portal as well on our Bluejay Family Live website. But also you can always call our office at 402-280-1212. I would like to just congratulate all of our graduating seniors and their families. This is such an exciting time and the culmination of all of your effort and hard work. And so maybe I should say congratulations to our soon-to-be new alumni. But once a Bluejay, always a Bluejay. So thank you, everyone, and go Blue Jays. So have a great night. Thank you.